UK and a changing Europe have been conducting a series of focus groups up and down the country to find out how Brexiteers and Remainers feel all these years on. Well, Anand Menon is part of that organisation and he's going to give us the findings. And I've read the report and there's clearly some disenchantment with Brexit, with the way in which it's been delivered. And I was particularly struck that of Brexiteers themselves, sort of 70% thought that the economic benefits that we might have harnessed from it haven't happened because of the government. So it sort of feels like we're all a bit disappointed somehow.
Yeah, I mean, you need to distinguish between disillusionment with Brexit, which I'm not sure is necessarily that apparent, and disillusionment with the way Brexit has been done, which I think we see very, very clearly. So I think only 18% of Leave voters now say that they're happy with the way Brexit has gone. A lot of Leave voters think that Brexit has been damaging to the economy, but most Leave voters think there was a way it could have been made to work, and they blame government for not making it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I've got to tell you, I am firmly myself in that camp and have been feeling that way for a very, very long time. What about the immigration factor here? I mean, you know, it was quite an important factor in getting the turnout up that we basically wanted not just control of our borders, but a genuine feeling that fewer people should be coming in to the country. How much disappointment is there on that?
I mean, there is disappointment, but I think, again, we've got to put it into context, because what's interesting about the Leave voters we spoke to is that, yes, they think that the outcomes on immigration they wanted haven't happened, but actually their main concern when it came to voting for Brexit, the main thing they wanted was control over laws. And with that, they're relatively happy, though there are some indications. We've got a report out today about the fact that the British government is refusing to deviate too far from EU regulations. So we'll see what the voters think about that. But immigration, I think, is important, but not the most important factor for many Leave voters.
Yeah, as you say, they're pleased we're back in charge. They're just not very pleased with the way in which we're using the new authority that we've got. I wonder also, Anand, whether this disenchantment people feel around Brexit is actually a reflection of a broader disenchantment people are feeling with politics as a whole.
I think people are disenchanted with politics. I mean, if you look at the polling on people's faith or trust in politics, I think trust in politics has hit an all-time low recently, and there's certainly not a lot of faith in the current government and the current government's ability to manage things. So I think that's certainly true, that a lot of the sort of disappointment that Brexiters feel is directed at politics and at politicians in general.
Yeah. And final thought on this. I mean, ever since that surprise referendum result, certainly a surprise to the establishment, and the years of parliamentary trench warfare, and then in the end, you know, Prime Minister after Prime Minister goes, and in the end we actually leave 3.5 years on. But it seems that in effect, what Sir Keir Starmer has done is to say, look, we want a closer relationship with the EU, and some can speculate what that means about aligning with single market rules, but that basically the question of membership is now not part of our political national debate.
No one's talking about it. And in fact, one of the most striking findings of the survey and focus groups was that voters don't want to be talking about Brexit anymore. And I'll just say one final thing. You say Keir Starmer. Actually, one of the striking things from our report that's out today is the finding that essentially there's not that much difference between Keir Starmer and Rishi Sunak, in that neither seem to want to diverge from EU regulations in the way that some Brexiters thought should be the obvious outcome of Brexit. So there's a degree of similarity between the two big parties on this.
Absolutely. Anand Menon, as ever, thank you for joining us on the show. And I have to say, I thought that last comment Anand made was absolutely right. There is not a great deal of difference between Sir Keir Starmer and Rishi Sunak on Europe, or frankly, on virtually anything else.